All right. So I wasn't going to cover the Bad Batch really again until it got good again. In literally the week after I decided that, it got good again. So the Bad Batch episode 7, Battle Scars, really picked up the pace once again in this show. And I honestly feel like this show is going to ultimately be the pick and choose show where you just kind of have these few episodes in between that really progress the story, and then the rest of them just kind of fill the void, unfortunately. So hopefully they do pick up the pace though after this one, but it's only episode 7. We'll have to wait and see, but it's been a very slow ride for the Bad Batch. I didn't even review the last one. The last one literally brought the Martez sisters back from Clone Wars Season 7. Didn't like that, so I just didn't care to even review the episode. It really took me out of the episode, but this one, a complete 180, amazing episode, probably the best one since the premiere. Even though episode 3 had Crosshair, this one is probably the best episode in general. Unfortunately, no Crosshair once again. It would have been really great to see Crosshair, but it is what it is. So the episode starts out with them doing another mission for Sid, and they're just bringing back some lizard thing or whatever, and they get back, they talk about payment and the share they're getting with Sid and how this whole system works that they're now in, the whole process, kind of like bounty hunting in a way. So they're going out and doing this mission for them and then getting paid. That's how it works. So and then there's this mysterious figure at Sid's place, and we don't know who it is until like a few minutes in after they talk with Sid, and there's kind of like a little bar fight, and then we get revealed that yes, we are finally there. There's Captain Rex. Captain Rex is finally back. We knew he was going to be in this show, and this is the episode. Thank God he came back after last week's very bad episode. So glad to see him back. I mean, what an amazing sight to see. Just so glad to see some familiar faces once again in this show, and I just love the tie-ins once again to of course the end of the Clone Wars to now where we're in this continuing story. So yes, Rex is back, amazing stuff. So they essentially catch up and whatever. They're working for Sid now, and Rex sees that they have Omega now, and they're talking about how Omega is kind of special, and she's the one who discovered the inhibitor chips. She's the one who told all of them that they have the chips. Although they knew that the other clones are being controlled, Omega is the one who specifically told them that they had chips in their heads. And then, at the same time, Wrecker is getting his headaches again, which we revealed last week, which is like the only big reveal of last week, that his inhibitor chip is going off, and he almost went off during the Martez sister situation or whatever. So he hit his head then, and he almost went off, and he's still getting headaches now, and obviously Rex knows what that is. He's very weary and very cautious about what's happening with Wrecker, and he's realizing that they haven't taken their chips out yet. So he grabs his gun, and he tells them to go to an abandoned shipyard. So it's just like a shipyard on a planet with a bunch of wrecked and abandoned ships, and there's a lot of abandoned Republic ships, especially older ones, and they're going to go on a Republic Venator ship, which is where Rex got his off. He got his off on a Venator ship as well, but they're going to find a wrecked one just so they can maybe get inside and see if the technology still works and they can get their chips out, because they really need the chips out, especially for Wrecker. So they're working with Rex. It's really, really cool to see them working with Rex. And again, it's also really cool to see the Venator ship again, even though this is an older one. He said, I think it's like a first version of it or whatever, the first class. And that's kind of why it's already so old looking and wrecked. So essentially they make it through the wrecked ship. There's some mishaps with some weird creatures in water and whatever. I mean, it's just a little bit of a journey to get to the medical bay or the medical room that they were in. It looks very similar again to the Clone Wars Season 7, where they were in the same type of room in the Venator ship that they were in when it was crashing, and this is the same type of room. It's just an older ship, and the machine's a bit older and stuff, but it still works fine. It works well, but Wrecker is really struggling with his chip now, even more than he was during the last episode. So things are not looking good for Wrecker. They got him there, but it's too late. So essentially, you can see right here, they got the inhibitor chip. They discovered it. They found it. They know it's there. They're ready to take it out, but it's too late. Wrecker is now executing Order 66. He is a good soldier following orders. Yes, Wrecker is now turned against the Bad Batch, at least for a short time. They have to deal with Wrecker now. He's going after them. He attacks Tech, and then essentially he attacks everyone in the room. They all flee, and they have to get him out of the room, because if they don't get him out of the room, he's going to wreck all the material, all the machine, which they need to get their chips out. So they lure him out of the room so they don't damage any of the machine. And it's just a battle. It's a battle to get Wrecker and, subdue him so he doesn't hurt anybody and wreck anything else, because he's Wrecker. He's going to wreck everything. But he's going after Hunt. He's super strong. It's Wrecker. He's knocking everybody out. He's beating everybody up. And it's a challenge. It's a very big challenge. And Rex is trying to stun him. And he can't even do that. Wrecker is like one step ahead of him. So essentially he splits off and goes after Omega, who was shooting at him, which is very surprising because earlier in the episode you could see what good friends they are. But he goes after Omega. A very creepy scene right here too. It's like Wrecker is now the big bad guy luring in the dark. He's going after the hero. It's a very spooky kind of scene. It's a very creepy one. And he's the bad guy. He's going after Omega now. He's trying to kill her. That's what he's trying to do for all of them now. He's trying to execute Order 66, and anyone who is working with the clones who are not obeying Order 66 is a traitor. So he sees all of them as traitors. That's essentially how he sees it as, of course. And he finds Omega, and he is set to kill her. He is definitely going to kill her here, and he said, "Good soldiers follow orders." It's like the ever popular and famous line now for the clones that are now under the inhibitor chip. But Rex does end up stunning him with a stun gun. He does enter the room at that point, so Omega is okay. And they get him in the machines, and they get his chip out. And then the rest of the crew also get their chips out as well. And now the Bad Batch is de-chipped. They no longer have their inhibitor chips, and we no longer have to worry about them, or executing Order 66 in the future for any of the batch, except Crosshair, of course, who now still has his chip, and he's working with the Empire. So hopefully they get his chip out as well. Who knows what's going to happen with Crosshair, but speaking of Crosshair, we really need to see Crosshair in this show again. It's been a long time. We really need to see Crosshair again in the Empire. It's been a while. It really has been a while. Even though this episode was amazing, we didn't see any of the Empire. We didn't see a Crosshair, and I would really love to get back there. So they get all their chips out. Everything's all good. Hunter has a chat with Rex. It seems like Rex is kind of working with Rebellion or somebody again to fight back against the Empire or whatever it is now. He's trying to help out like we already knew. Eventually, though, he ends up with Wolf and Gregor on Star Wars Rebels, where he's kind of out of the Rebellion. He's not really fighting them anymore. He's off on his own now, and he's kind of retired, I guess you could say. But at this moment, he is working to fight, I would assume, against the Empire and for the Republic. He's saying he's fighting for the Republic, not the Empire, of course. And we don't know who he's chatting with, but we do see him communicating with somebody. We could assume maybe it's Ahsoka or somebody else in the Rebellion, but he's communicating with somebody, and we don't really know. If we ever do know, I don't know if we ever will know, but I don't think it really matters. You can kind of predict some things. But they have a good conversation about the Bad Batch and how they could help the Rebellion. But Hunter ultimately says that they've kind of gone on a different path now. They need to deal with Crosshair and the Empire and Omega and everything. So they're on their own adventure now. They're on their own mission now instead of this rebellion that is forming. So they part their ways. Rex goes off, he parts ways, and I honestly don't think we're going to see Rex again in this show, at least for a long time. I think we're going to follow this Bad Batch storyline now for a good while, and I hope we pick up with Crosshair because that's the other very interesting storyline in this show. And Rex, I really do want to see Rex, more of Rex. I don't know where we could, but I want to see more of his storyline after Revenge of the Sith. I don't know where it could be. I really honestly don't know. Like, they can make another whole show, maybe, who knows, maybe with Darth Maul, Ahsoka, Rex, maybe a Rebellion storyline, but we did that in Rebels, so I don't know what kind of story we could get, but I do want to see Rex again. Perhaps it could be in this show. I honestly don't know. I would really hope to, but right now Rex is off on his own. He's doing his own thing, and hopefully we see him again one day. But it was really cool to see him. His storyline was kind of predicted to be with the inhibitor chips, and he helped get them all out. So now all the Bad Batch have their chips out, and Rex is off on his own again. But the people, of course, who are in control of this planet, or kind of supervising over the junkyard of ships, find the Bad Batch, and they find that people are now in the crashed Jedi starship, and they alert the Empire. So these random guys right here, they are going to alert the Empire that the Bad Batch are there on the ship, and you would assume that the next episode could have the Empire after them. Hopefully that's what that means. Hopefully Crosshair is finally back in the next episode, but if he's not, I don't know what they're going to do. They have a lot of people after them right now. They have a lot of people after the Bad Batch, and there's a lot of cool things they can do, and I just kind of I don't want to see these side stories anymore. I want to see this stuff happen. I want to see the big stuff happen, and hopefully they continue to do that, because this one was a really good episode. It really progressed the storyline finally. It got the inhibitor chip storyline dealt with. Omega also does not have an inhibitor chip, at least that she told the group, so that's very interesting as well. Some people maybe thought maybe she does too because she's a clone, but I kind of thought she didn't, so I'm not too surprised, but that is something we also learned in this episode. So we learned a lot, we got a lot done, and I'm very excited to hopefully deal with the Empire in the next episode. We need to see the Empire. Really good episode. I'm really glad this show picked it up again. The last few weeks have been very, very slow, and I do expect some more really slow episodes, honestly, but hopefully there are more progressive stories going forward here, more stories progressing the story. I want to see more and more of that. We're about halfway in the season now, and I want to see this story ramp up a little bit, and hopefully that continues. But Bad Batch episode 7, Battle Scars, really good episode. Definitely recommend it. Honestly, if there's 3 episodes I could recommend to you, it would be episode 1, 3, and 7. Those are the biggest episodes right now. They're all good, but there's some really slow ones, but those are the 3. So it's like a pick and choose show, but really good episode.